every election, we hear the same rallying cry. This is the most important election of our lifetime. That's a pretty bold statement. But if it's true, that statement better get us off our couches and into the voting booth, especially as Catholics. Why? Because it is impossible to separate your faith from your everyday life. By actively participating as informed citizens, we can shape the way in which we live as a community. With every vote we cast, we actively form our society. Catholic voters don't simply exercise an individual right or make their voices heard as if we were all isolated individuals acting for ourselves alone. We vote to promote the common good for the sake of our neighbors. When we vote, we can help to promote solidarity with and care for the most vulnerable. Our vote can help to protect in the law the human dignity of all, from conception to natural death. Our vote can also create social safety nets that allow every person to live with dignity. In other words, our vote is not about us. The truth of the matter is that every election is important and has its own set of current important issues. And while there are many issues that are relevant to our day-to-day lives, some issues are preeminent because they involve fundamental moral principles. Catholic social teaching encourages us to discern the best policies to care for the poor, the vulnerable, workers, and God's creation. But at the top of that list, the legal protection of human life from conception to natural death. After all, none of your other rights mean anything if you're not alive to exercise them. So when we participate in an election, we are honoring God's design for our lives. We are accepting our responsibility to act in the time and place He chose for us, the 21st century in the United States of America. The Church has enormous gifts in its understanding of the human person and freedom. And as Catholics, how can we bring these gifts to the public square if we don't bother to vote? After all, to whom much is given, much is expected. So much depends on your voting. Don't waste the opportunity to be a force for good. If you've been paying attention in the last few years, I'm sure you've seen the steady efforts of activists and those in government to silence Catholic voices and punish them for their beliefs. My good friend, Helen Alvarez, will give you some unexpected insights on this in the next video. So click or tap right here to discover how the state is working to abolish the Church and what you need to know to stop it. I'm Mary Fiorito, a fellow at the Ethics and Public Policy Center and host of the Edify podcast for Edify.